Go home, my sister. You've had a bit too much to drink. Go home. Don't follow them to that party. Rather go home. Rather be safe and go home. Go home. Go back home to the villages. Go back home. Go home and see your siblings. Go home and spend time with your parents. Go home and spend time with your great-grandparents, your grandparents. Go sit with them and find out wisdom. Go learn from them. Go sit with them. Go share and spend time with your family. Go home. Home, it's always a great decision to go to. Even if you're tempted sometimes. There's nothing wrong about having fun. But when that instinct kicks in and says, let me go home, don't second think it. But again, give the second thoughts. Ne? Don't second think it or second guess it. So cool. Don't second guess that thought. Go home. Sometimes, you save yourself from a lot of troubles. You save yourself from a lot of problems. You save yourself from accidents. You save yourself from fights. You save yourself from muglahla. Aiki poza yo tshwala boy. Bo batla ba ro steering jwang o rona ga lo bona bo jwala. Ayo motho a ileng gore o tlo tshwara timing ile gore o nwele. As much as you know that you've got a limit for alcohol, but sometimes you might just get a bit excited. It depends on what it is. Maybe it's a celebration, you guys are doing well at work. Maybe it's a celebration, your soccer team won. Maybe it's an after party. Maybe it's your friend that are saying, let's go to the next after party. Rather go home. It's always a good decision to go home. It's like what I always say to people who ask me, do you think I should go back to school or do you think I should go for that opportunity? I always say to people, it's never a bad idea to go back to school. It doesn't matter how old you are. Even if you're not going to use or put that degree to use or you're not going to put that education to use, it's never a bad idea to pursue education. It's never a bad idea to go home. Go home. Especially when that instinct kicks in, go home. I know I'm talking about going home, about, just going home for the night. Maybe even now you are watching this video, you're second guessing going to the party or going to the next location. Rather go home. And yes, I also mean going back home to where you come from, the villages. Going back home to your parents. I know you're probably living in your apartment. You're probably living in your house. It's always a great idea to go home. Going home, you see people you haven't seen in a while. Going home, you see people who really care about you. Going home, you're going to people who don't judge you. Yes, we come from communities where most of us are black people. We come from communities where sometimes we just want to leave the hood. And I understand that. But there's just never a place like home. Family first, my brothers and sisters. Family comes first. Even if anything happens in this world, your parents, your family, your siblings, your relatives, your cousins, your nephews, your nieces. That's the best place to rather go to than anywhere else. Noma umhlaba so ukushaya out there lefatshe le go shapa le go bontsha di pap and flakes le di movie go nyewa. Home, they'll always welcome you with open arms. Even if in the community they might be laughing at you and saying, "Nyambona sekabuyilu like us manje unathi." It's always a good idea to rather go back home rather than struggling in this place called Johannesburg, rather than struggling in the cities, rather than struggling in New York City, rather than struggling in London, rather than struggling in Lagos, rather than struggling in all these capital cities where you went to looking for a better life, looking for an opportunity, but things are now upside down, your money is finished, things are difficult, life is just showing you flames. Rather go back home. It's never a bad idea to go back home. Because the longer you stay, when you're fighting that thought, and things with what you're experiencing is now showing you flames, life is really showing you flames, the more you're going to get into debt, the more you're going to get into things of this world that might end up leading you to that dark world. They might end up leading you into doing crime. They might end up leading you into doing prostitution. They might end up leading you into doing corrupt things. You might end up doing the dark things because you just don't want to humble yourself and rather go back home. Going back home is never a bad idea. It's always a great idea to go back home. Even when things are great. You've got your own family, you've got your own life, you've moved on, you're owning whatever you're owning and things are great. When last did you go home? When last did you go visit them at home? When last did you go see them at home? When last did you just drive in and just hang out with them and just reminisce those memories? Connect with some old friends that you haven't seen in a while. Even when everybody else has grown up and people have moved on, they're now older. There's now younger kids there who don't even pretty much know who you are back home. But it's always nice to go back home. Go home. Eya hamba uye ekhaya. Whatever context you look at it, going back home is always the best decision. Even if you just say a couple, a young couple. You've gone out because you told your wife, or you've gone out because you've told your husband that it's ladies' night. Yes, you've had that afternoon, whatever event or lunch with friends, or kitchen party, or Stockfell party, or Mukhodiswan, whatever it might be. But instead of going to that after party, when that thought kicks in, that instinct, that gut that says, maybe I should go back home, don't second guess it. Because I know a lot of us were like, man, let me go out with them, actually. Let me go out clubbing. And have you ever seen sometimes when you second guess that thought and you do go out with them clubbing, sometimes you end up regretting it the following day? You sometimes end up getting into either an accident, either a fight, either your reputation was getting compromised. Maybe because it's a work environment, you're with colleagues. You didn't have to drink a little bit more. Now you ended up saying things that you were not supposed to say. And then your boss heard some of the things that you've said. Maybe your friends, sometimes it's just nice to just drink to a certain limit. And usually, when you feel I'm enough now, let me go home. Don't second guess that thought. Go home. Hambe kai.